嗨，这是小老板充电站，我是 Iden。这是一个国际型、完全实务导向的创业节目。励志的故事我们留给别人讲，我这里只提供真正有用的方法，帮你解决困境，还有价值的市场观察，让你找到商机。如果你想变强，同时打开视野，那你就来对地方咯。我把我的背景还有免费资源都放在资讯栏，强烈建议你加入 Telegram 社群，很多第一手观察都会在这里出现。也记得先按下追踪，以后才不会找不到我们。那节目就开始咯。Today we have Valentina join us. Valentina, can you introduce yourself for us, please?
Yes, of course. My name is Valentina. I am originally from Austria, but I've been living in Taiwan since almost 8 years, since 2018. And I work in marketing. So I have a marketing agency here in Taipei called Hey Stranger. And before that, I was working for Rhinoshield. So like a Taiwanese smartphone case brand. And overall, my marketing experience is more than 7 years. And with Hey Stranger, we've also worked with a lot of big clients like Insta360, MSI, also Rhinoshield. And I'm super excited to be here and talk to you today. And
And why did you choose Taiwan as the first stop for your startup business?
Well, for me, it was not that I, for example, was in Europe and then was looking for the perfect place to found a business. But for me, the situation was that I was already in Taiwan. So as I just mentioned, I came here to study my MBA. And then when I graduated, it was 2020. So there was COVID. And that's why I also started looking for a job in Taiwan. And I started working for corporate. And back then, I actually never really thought about starting a business in Taiwan, to be honest. But through working in Taiwan, I also learned that there are a lot of difference, especially when it comes to marketing in East and West. And this is how I came up with the idea. And because I already had a pretty wide network here in Taiwan, I thought it would be the perfect place to actually get the business started.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned about a wide network. How did you build it? It's all by your alumni from MBA, or did you also do other stuff? And do you think that for someone who wants to build their network in Taiwan, MBA is really helpful?
Yes. So for me, I think everything started with the MBA. But overall, in Taiwan, the people are, first of all, very, very friendly. So it's very, very easy to meet people. And then I would say it's becoming a little bit more international over the years, but the foreigner network is still relatively small, which also means that people kind of know each other. So when you meet maybe one person, you find out, oh, I also have a friend in common, or I have this acquaintance in common. So it's very, very, I would say, easy to build a network. And for me, I'm also the person, I don't really like networking events, for example. I'm more building it's kind of a mixture between, friends as well. So when I say network, I also mean, people who are now kind of my friends, because I also like to work with people who, I feel comfortable around. And definitely the MBA was really, really helpful because it gives you a good base of people, And then even now, for example, I go to the gym almost every weekday. And then a lot of my people from the MBA are also there at the gym. And then also it's very easy to, catch up. And then they are also knowing other people. So I think it's very easy to, just be friends here in Taiwan and to just build a network further.
Mm-hmm. And those classmates from MBA, they're all like you, international students or from local?
So the MBA here was global MBA. So basically it was half international people and half Taiwanese locals. But then the thing is all the Taiwanese locals here, they speak English because for the whole program was in English language. So that also made it very easy for me to connect with Taiwanese locals here in Taiwan as well.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned about that you feel most of the time Taiwanese are friendly to foreigners.
Mm-hmm.
And is there other image of Taiwan in your mind that you think is quite impressive or you would like to share or even heads up to your foreigners fellows? Maybe from marketing side, maybe it's about the behaviors, maybe about the cultures or the weathers. I'm wondering
Mm,
that as a business owner
mhm,
in running your business in Taiwan, what kind of image do you have in your mind?
mhm. I think I would say there's two different things. Like one is business and one is like everyday life.
Yeah.
I think for everyday life, there is really like nothing like bad to say about Taiwan, honestly. Because I mean, Taiwan, like the weather is very nice. I just told you, like today is like sunshine and it's December, and it has like 25 degrees, so very very nice. I think the quality of life is also very high. Like the food is really amazing, and there is nature. Yeah, people are friendly. Yeah, it's. I think there is like nothing like nothing bad or negative to say about Taiwan. I think for like starting a business, it's also very positive, I have to say, because as I just mentioned, it's very easy to connect with people, but it's not always easy. Because in Taiwan, for example, if you want to set up a bank account as a business owner, for example, it's very, very challenging because it's still in Mandarin. And then, yeah, I would say it's like rather bureaucratic. So yeah, there's like some drawbacks as well of like setting up the business in Taiwan. But overall, people are very friendly. I also have to say that being a woman, like in business in Taiwan, I never really had a feeling that it's more difficult because of like my gender or anything. Like people are very respectful. Yeah, it's even like okay, I would say because a lot of the business owners here are also men. But I feel like like everyone is very respectful. So yeah, I have to say that this is something that I really enjoy also in Taiwan. And it's also the small things because when you go out here, a lot of people small talk to you. It's very common that maybe you just I don't know like going to buy something and people will just say something to you. And I think this makes your life so much happier because coming from like a country like Austria where people usually don't really talk to each other and are like really like not angry but just like yeah kind of are not that friendly, let's say that way. It's like a really nice like change of scenery here because it just makes your overall like mood so much better.
Hmm. I would like to talk more about the challenge may comes from the language,
Okay.
because you're doing business with the Taiwanese company mostly, and
Hmm.
you're helping them to go abroad. So I'm wondering that when it comes to customer develop or
Hmm.
let's say some related business, what are the challenge you might face, and do you feel like it's really blocking you from having new clients?
Mm. I think overall it's definitely challenging. But I also have to say that because we are like a smaller agency, and also our goal is to have more like long-term clients. So this means that we also don't have to do like a lot of business development, always having new clients. So this is also making it a little bit easier. And then the second thing is we are also trying to work with clients who have like a little bit more like international mindset already. So meaning that they are, for example, like open to enter like Europe, for example, or we can already see that they value marketing. So usually those kind of companies, their mindset is already very open. So usually their English is also kind of okay, I would say. And then on the other hand, my Mandarin is also like good enough, for example, to have like initial conversation. So for me, I can also, if I, for example, like write like social media posts, I can even write it in Mandarin. Of course, it's not like native. And I usually don't really do it because I feel like doing marketing in Taiwan as a foreigner is, yeah, it's not like what I'm supposed to do, honestly. Because again, like you really need to know the market. You really need to like understand the language as a local. But then, yeah, my Mandarin is like good enough, I would say, to just like do initial outreach or have like even I had discovery call also in Mandarin. But usually the companies we work with, yeah, they are more like a little bit more international. Sometimes they even have already like some international people working for them. So we had situations that, yeah, our like the project manager we work with in the Taiwanese company is actually a foreigner. So this makes also communication a lot easier for us.
Hmm. So would you say if you don't know Mandarin, you only
Mhm.
speak English, it will be tough to live in Taiwan, or actually there's a way of survive, like not a
Mhm.
problem at all?
Okay, so the thing is, for me personally, I think it will be very, very difficult. But for example, my husband, he doesn't speak Mandarin. And he says it's very easy. But I also believe that for him it's very easy because he has me as a translator. So I think you need to have like at least like a certain level of Mandarin. But I also believe like it depends a lot on like why you come to Taiwan. You know what you're here for. Maybe you're here like working for like a foreign company. Then I would say it's easily doable because then usually you have like a system in place from the company that can help you find an apartment and everything. But if you need to organize everything on your own, I have to say life is easier if you do speak Mandarin. Because there are small things, you know, like I can go to the bank and I can wait for someone to speak English to me, but it might take a long time, or maybe I have to come back another day. But for me, I can just do whatever. So yeah, it's definitely more convenient.
Mm-hmm. And did you pass through some certification of Mandarin testing? And what is the level now?
Honestly, I have no idea. I never did any exam. At this point, I have to say, it's like my Chinese is getting like sometimes getting better, sometimes getting worse. I still take classes, but I'm at this like kind of awkward level where when I go to school, what I like learn now is very very high level Mandarin. So more like for writing essays and just like some things that I actually don't need in real life. But sometimes I feel like some small things I forget like kind of some characters or like vocabulary. So yeah, no idea. Maybe I should take a test sometime to know. But I would say I'm like fluent in everyday like situations. But for example, I could probably not have this conversation that we have now in Mandarin, like without preparing. I would need like probably like a long time to prepare, like find the right words.
Mm-hmm. Do you think the consumer behaviors in Taiwan are having much different than in Western countries? And what are the parts that you think it's the most significant?
Mm-hmm. So the thing is, because what I do is I mostly focus on European market. So I don't really have like a very, very deep understanding of Taiwanese consumer behaviors. But what, for example, stands out to me is that in Taiwan, for example, email marketing is not really like a big thing. Which is so interesting because looking at the German market or European market, email marketing can be like a very very big chunk of your sales performance, right? Because a lot of people like read the emails. You usually have like pretty good conversion rates. So for me, it's very very surprising that in Taiwan, a lot of the companies they don't even offer newsletter. But on the other hand, you can see that in Taiwan, everything goes through Line. So Line app, if anyone doesn't know, it's like similar to WhatsApp, basically, or like WhatsApp that we have in Europe. But everything goes through Line. So meaning that, if you want to book something, you use Line, or like you're like in this kind of Line chats, and then you get like all the advertisement there. I want to say that like another thing that is very interesting is that in Taiwan, like people love cute stuff. So for me, when I was working back in like corporate, I was working with all the different markets. So there was like Taiwan team, there was like APAC team, there was like a European team, and all the different teams. And we always have a lot of discussion when it came to like the design part, right? Because like we know that Taiwanese, they really like cute stuff. There's a lot of gamification happening. It's slowly also like starting in Europe, I have to say. But in Taiwan, it's definitely like at another level.
When you say huge stuff, what does that exactly mean?
Oh, cute. Okay. So for example, like if you go around in Taiwan, like you see a lot of people have this kind of, plush animals on their back. Back in Europe, like maybe like a year ago, this was not a thing, right? But here in Asia, we have this since like many years already. Because I work for like a phone case brand. So we also always have this kind of like brainstorming meetings, like which kind of new designs you want to bring out. So people like this kind of, like animals, or like I have this one here, like very cute.
Okay.
So people like this kind of, animal stuff. And very often, at least back in the days, this didn't really work in Europe. But also, I've been seeing that even some like brands, they also start bringing out this kind of plush animals, and it's slowly like starting in Europe as well.
Mm-hmm. If it comes to the policy part, do you think it's foreigner entrepreneur friendly?
Mm-hmm. So you mean like foreigners staying in Taiwan, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So for this, like Taiwan has like one organization. It's called like Taiwan Talent, and they are usually very, very helpful. So I would say to a certain degree, it is foreigner friendly, but it depends a lot on your background and on your, for example, like salary back in Europe, for example. So there is, for example, gold card. So if you have like a certain like salary threshold, or you have certain like knowledge that other people in Taiwan maybe don't have, it's very easy to get a gold card. And then those people also have like lower tax. I don't really know the exact number, but yeah, it's usually very easy to look it up under Taiwan Gold Card. And also there is like an entrepreneur visa. So if you come here as an entrepreneur, I think it's up to 2 years. I heard that it's also rather easy to get because also Taiwan, they really wanna retain foreign talents, and also they wanna become more international. In my case, what I did, because I was already based in Taiwan, so I already had ARC, so basically the residency, and I founded my business, and then I hired myself. So meaning that my business actually like sponsored my own residency, and then this year I actually got my permanent residency. So now I have like open work permit, and yeah, if you work for 5 years, you can get the permanent residency. And I think, for example, if you come here to study, the period is even like shorter.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I would say to answer your question, it's definitely foreigner friendly when it comes to like finding a way to stay in Taiwan.
What about the tax part? Because there are lots of documents. I believe that originally it's written in Mandarin. Do they also provide you an English version? And do you need to hire some bilingual accountant to help you for this, or any those kind of administration stuff?
Okay. So for me, I remember when I had the idea of starting the business, I bought a book which was called like How to Found a Business in Taiwan or something like this. I started reading, and then like halfway through, I understood that it's very complicated. So I actually hired an accounting company, and they helped me set up the business. They helped me to take care of all the tax things and everything. So honestly, I would definitely recommend that. Maybe there are some English tax papers that I don't know of, but all the papers I ever received were in Mandarin. And I also have some friends, or even like Taiwanese who didn't grow up in Taiwan, who also said it's like very, very challenging for them. But the good thing is that hiring this kind of help in Taiwan is relatively affordable. So in my opinion, or what I would tell people is like, when you want to start a business in Taiwan, just like get some help, find someone to help you with like setting up the business or like the tax stuff as well, because you can save a lot of time, and it's really like a good value for money, honestly.
Okay. When it comes to the challenges, instead of what we already said, is there other heads up you would like to remind the people who wants to start their business in Taiwan?
I think like for people who want to start a business in Taiwan, they should definitely, like, it really depends always on like which kind of business they want to start. What I mentioned before, like in Taiwan, there like the foreigner community is small, but very, very helpful. So if, for example, someone in Europe, they're thinking about coming to Taiwan, I really recommend you find maybe someone on LinkedIn who is in the same industry and talk to them, because everyone is very, very helpful. And then it's easier to really understand if it makes sense to come to Taiwan to start a business in this particular field, I would say. And overall, of course, like the Mandarin part, this is something to like think of, because if you want to come here to start a business, maybe like at least like learn like a little bit of Mandarin before coming here. And then overall, I think it really depends on what's the business like. Because if you're like in a tech industry and you come to Taiwan because you want to build a team here, definitely a great place, because there are a lot of very talented people. Also, like the work like mindset of people here is very very good, honestly, because people like to work a lot. And then I think it's just great environment for building like a team, I would say. But maybe other industries, like if you want to come to Taiwan to like open a restaurant, maybe I would say not like super easy, because there are a lot of restaurants and it's very challenging, right?
Yeah, too much competitors.
Yeah.
In terms of the industry side, we all know that chips, TSMC, is very famous worldwide. And I wonder, is there any industry in your mind that also pop up when we talk about the strengthness of Taiwan? 哎，我们中场休息一下。你知道我们推出了电子报吗？是免费的哦。订阅之后，你会收到额外的知识，还有赚钱机会，以及很多很棒但不适合放在 podcast 的内容。我把链接放在资讯栏，先轻轻按下暂停键，趁着这个休息时间，用20秒来去完成订阅吧。别忘了回来哦。
I mean, honestly, like a lot of people here recently, they start AI businesses, or because I know there's like a lot of like software engineers in general, like a lot of people who are like really great with tech. So I would say like the whole tech like bubble is very, very successful here in Taiwan. For all the other industries, I have to say it depends a lot. Maybe there is something that you can do that other people in Taiwan cannot do. So for me, for example, it made a lot of sense to like start my business here, because what I do is I do marketing and bridge the gap between Europe and Asia. Or for example, I learned, because I'm here for such a long time, so I learned that a lot of the companies here, they don't really do marketing the like I don't know the proper way, but basically the proper way, because a lot of them, they don't track marketing, they don't have marketing strategy, they don't really think about target audience, and they just basically they come up with something and invest, and then they're not tracking if it works, and in the end they are very like scared to spend budget on marketing. So this was something also where I saw, okay, there is the need to educate people here to really help them. So I would say in the marketing field, there's also definitely like great potential, but it's not easy, because a lot of companies also, they're very hesitant to invest in marketing.
I would say, because myself is Taiwanese, but I didn't really live in Taiwan for like long time. Maybe there's only 60% of my life in Taiwan, and after I go to Shanghai, and now I'm in France. So based on what I observed for the moment, I would say there's like 33%, 33%, and 33%. Like there's the first let's say section is really like what you said. They don't really know what is marketing. They thought marketing is all about advertising, and that's it. It's all about the advertisement we saw on TV, on the poster, and that's all. Marketing is all about spending money. It's the meaning for them, and they are more prefer to invest on sales. Like those department, they can directly bring the revenue. And there's the second section is they know they need marketing, but they don't really know what can it bring to them. Like, is there KPIs that we can track? Is there some specific milestone we can achieve on business? We don't really know. They know marketing can help, but they don't know how powerful it is. And they might start to learn some fundamental informations, knowledge, and they want to get to know more, but they are still learning. They are like newbies. And the third segment is more about they are like professionals. They already passed through the newbie stage, and they want to really make it practical in their business. Either most of the time their background is from big FMCGs or like L'Oreal, those kind of big companies. They've been trained already for several years, and they now wants to build their own business, or they want to bring their knowledge back and contribute to their local friends or other companies they would like to help. That's what I saw for the moment. And since now that internet is more and more easy to get the knowledge you want, especially with AI's help, I think that also helps to shorten the gap between Western trend and the Eastern, let's say, knowledge. So now there's more and more people starts to pass through the second phase and entering the third phase. And also with the help of online coursing, there's easier to get systematic training from those kind of professionals. So I would say that I can see that after maybe 2 to 3 years, those 30 percentage, what I just mentioned, is going to be like maybe still 30 at the first segment, the percentage in the second phase would move more to the third phase. So like what you mentioned is really the status now in Taiwan that there's still lots of companies, they don't really value marketing well. And
Yeah.
sometimes they, because of the short video is very trendy now, so they also just think that, okay, if I just do the short video, then I can become popular in some markets. But it's not the case, because like you said, you need to really identify your brand first and you set your tonality, then you can do the rest well in the right direction. Otherwise it's a mess.
Yeah, agree. And then because you also mentioned these kind of like very big, the big brands like Louis Vuitton, or some of those, they also usually this like global marketing, right? But like a lot of the companies also we work with like really based in Asia, based in Taiwan. So for those ones, the percentage is usually like still like rather like smaller, right? So, but I do hope, I agree that people are like learning more about it, and then also AI definitely helps a lot. Even though AI sometimes is also like a little bit challenging, honestly, because a lot of companies, they think that AI can just like take care of the marketing. But honestly, you still need to have someone, like a human behind it, and making sure that what they're doing makes sense. Like planning a strategy, of course, it's amazing for, execution and for health. But yeah, this is like something that I've also been like discussing a lot in the past with like different kind of companies and also colleagues.
Mm-hmm. Like you said before, that even you speak Mandarin, but it's not that fluent yet. I mean, not as Taiwanese local. So I'm wondering that how do you develop your business normally in a successful way? Because I believe there's lots of foreigners. They would also like to know your tips.
So for me, what I mentioned before, also because of my network, I also have like a lot of people, like I know a lot of people in Taiwan who work for like local companies. And also because like I study with a lot of Taiwanese, and then all of them, because they study like MBA, they all speak English as well. So this of course like helped a lot. For me, I would say like how I develop my like clients, like a very, very big part of it is actually through like networks or people I know. Just like talking to people, and maybe some people are like interested to work together. I'm usually not a person who is like forcing anyone to work with me, because usually it's much nicer to work with companies who actually understand that they need some help. So I think that's something like the network is definitely like a big part of it. Also for me, like LinkedIn, for example, I use LinkedIn as well to reach out to different companies. And I have to say, it works as well, like even in Taiwan. For like a little bit bigger companies, like a lot of the like very small companies, they are not on LinkedIn yet. But if you look at like mid-sized companies who also often target like European markets, it's really great to reach out to them. And then of course you need to find out like who is the right person to reach out to. But for me, it's also maybe like just having a conversation with them, right? I'm not a person, like I really don't really think that this kind of like cold emailing or cold messaging and then basically just like reaching out because you want something, I don't really have like good experience with this. For me, it's more just like having a conversation, and then also giving back to them, because maybe they also have some questions first. So I like just to talk to people, maybe share a little bit what we do, let them share what they do, maybe some bottlenecks that they have, and just like slowly get into the conversation. But for me, usually like those two parts are like the main, like the main areas I would say where I get my clients from. A lot of times it's really this kind of like a network that I have, and just like some people, because the network in Taiwan is also maybe a little bit different to Europe, because I know I remember like living in Austria, like networking was very difficult. But as I mentioned in Taiwan, like I feel like whole Taiwan, like this kind of like a like marketing bubble, like everyone kind of knows each other. So I also like to work together with others, meaning that if there's like another agency, I don't really see them as a competitor, right? We work together. Maybe there's a project where they need some help. So for example, like one of my former bosses, he has an agency for like French market. So I also very often help them with their German marketing. And then also like one of my really good friends, he's like from Spain, so he's a freelancer. So if I have a project, I also bring him in. So it's like people really like helping each other, and it's like having fun also with what you do. and then having a meaning behind it, right? Because we all really want to help Taiwanese brands, Asian brands to be more successful in Europe.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like there is coffee chat culture in Taiwan?
You mean like online or?
Online or in person? When you ask for coffee chat with some strangers,
Yeah.
do they normally accept or they question you a lot?
Honestly, I think it depends a lot. Is it like in a foreign bubble or not? Because I never really tried this kind of like coffee chats with like this like very very like local bubble. But foreigners, yes, definitely. So all the foreigners, they were very very open to exchange also their knowledge, their experience. And then with foreigners, I don't really necessarily mean like, I don't know, people from Europe, but it could also be maybe some, like technically Taiwanese, but grew up in in US. But I honestly think that the reason for this is also like a language, because like a lot of the local Taiwanese maybe don't really feel comfortable with like English chats, like English coffee chat. So that's why also it might be like a little bit more challenging. But also like one thing that is interesting is that in Europe there's a big trend of a lot of people being on LinkedIn, right? Like even like employees, they're sharing like about their work and everything on LinkedIn. But I feel like in Taiwan, it's not that common yet. I feel like it's like mostly founders or maybe CEO, marketing director, like the high level positions, but not really like everyone just sharing. So it's also like a little bit more difficult to connect with maybe some people who are not in like very very high position.
Mm-hmm. What's the image in your mind of the way of Taiwanese doing business?
The image in my mind before coming to Taiwan, I always thought it's about drinking, drinking alcohol. No, but I think honestly, I think it's also like it's about conversation. It's about like a lot of things I would say in Taiwan is like in person, happens in person. Because I know that like talking to people like online from Europe is very very common, that you just you meet online, maybe you're like business partners, but you never met in person. And I feel like in Taiwan it's still a little bit different. When I usually like the clients I work with, I know them, I've met them before, like in person, we go there. So for some, even they like us to come there for meetings in person as well. So I think that's like one of the like differences I could see, that a lot of people like they really want to like kind of see that you're doing your job, like who are you, they want to really like get to know you, honestly.
Yeah, that's quite common in Taiwan. I don't really understand, but that's our
Mm-hmm.
culture. Because for me, that to meet you online or meet you in person is kind of same. We're only going to talk about what we're going to talk. It's not because I meet you in person, so I'm going to tell you something that it's improper or
Yeah.
not that suitable to talk about it online. And for older generation who
Mm.
is maybe age above 50, I think to meet in person is kind of mandatory for them.
Yeah.
They really want to see you in real.
Mm. Yeah.
And in terms of the way of working in Taiwanese culture, do you feel like there's something that it's um, special? For example, like maybe they don't really mind to send you texts after work time, or I don't know, those kind of stuff. Because
Mm-hmm.
I've heard that a lot in Taiwanese group, and I'm wondering that do you also see this kind of thing happens
Mm-hmm.
around you?
Okay, so overall, like working culture in Taiwan is very 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 different to Austria, and I assume even more different to France, because people usually work around the clock. So because you just mentioned like receiving messages after hours, yes, definitely. So this is something that at this point, like after like 8 years in Taiwan, I don't really think about it anymore. It's just something very, very common because people use Line. So that's also like one very interesting thing, is that in Europe, for example, like I guess most companies use, for example, Slack, right? Or like this kind of like programs, because you have the threads and it's very easy to organize the conversation. Here in Taiwan, I've worked with several companies, even though the teams are pretty big, they use Line. So it's very messy, and there's like a lot of messages coming in, and then also messages coming in very late. So yeah, definitely like this is one part. But for example, for me as an agency, it depends, of course, like on the collaboration, right? So I usually I know if there's something going on, or for example, I coordinate a lot of influencer marketing campaigns. So I know that if it's the day that influencer campaign is going online, I will just like check my phone, and if they message me very late, I just answer. Because things like can be answered very, very fast. So I just also want to be like proactive and just be there for the client. But overall, it's also about like setting the right expectations. So for me, usually I will try to get back to clients whenever it's very like urgently, but otherwise I will just answer the next day. But overall, this is like the working around the clock. Also, when you work in like an office or a corporate setting, is something that is very, very common here.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm going to enter a like super wide question.
Okay.
So, which is how to work well with Taiwanese company.
Okay. Honestly, I think it depends a lot on the project. Because for us, what we do is for some of the clients we work with, we basically we build their whole marketing strategy. So we have, for example, like one client, we build their marketing strategy, and then we also execute all the different things. So we are responsible for a lot of things. So what we do is we come there like once a week. We have the meeting in person. And also we really care a lot about the communication. So I'm also like a person, I like to like over communicate. Because I think that's also like very, very helpful in Taiwan, because even maybe sometimes they're not answering, but they know that you're basically doing what you're supposed to do. Because what I just mentioned before, also like in Taiwan, like usually the boss likes to have you at the office. Like the boss likes to see what you're doing. So what helped me a lot is basically just communicating a lot, like communicating everything I do, especially if it's like a really big project where I take care of a lot of small things. I'm just sending them summaries, or for example, at the end of every month, I have like a report, like telling them exactly what I did, what are the KPIs we reached, what we can do better, what are the highlights. This is very, very helpful, and it helps a lot to really like build the trust. For smaller collaborations, usually it's a little bit different. Because if it's just like one, let's say like influencer collaboration or a couple of influencer collaborations, is also easier, because we know, okay, this is the day it needs to go online. So we have like already our time plan, and we will do exactly what this kind of like schedule says, right? But overall, I would say like communication is very important, and this helped me a lot. And also communication here in Taiwan is less direct than in in Europe. So especially like being like speaking German, we're very direct people. So in Taiwan, also just make sure that the way I communicate is just like suitable for the clients. And it's really it helped a lot to just have like good relationship and build a trust.
Do you think that Taiwan is a suitable first step for a European company to enter Asia?
Depends a lot on the business and on the overall like plan or like perspective people have. Because if you want to come here to build a team, yes, definitely great. But if you, for example, want to like come here to sell, come to Asia to sell in Asia, it's definitely easier to maybe sell in Singapore, sell in Hong Kong, because it's English speaking markets. So I think it's very difficult to answer this as a whole, right? And this is what I mentioned before. So for people who really want to like build a business in Taiwan or want to start selling in Taiwan, it makes a lot of sense to really find someone in the specific industry and really just better understand if it makes sense to like come to Taiwan as a first step. But overall, I would say the language barrier makes it a little bit more difficult.
I wonder, what do you think Asia is about? I mean, there are lots of French entrepreneurs. They told me they are interested in Asia markets, but actually for them, it's more like a blurry image in their mind. They know it's big. They know it's having several countries. There are a strong cultural background there, and they just wonder how can they enter. But I'm wondering that, can you give them a rather more clear image for them to understand what
Okay.
is Asia about?
Okay. So in general, I have to say that very similar to when you look at Europe. You also, I mean, we speak about Europe, but Europe has so many different countries, right? So similar, like if you look at Asia, it's very similar. So if I speak about like Taiwan, it's very different to Thailand, it's very different to the Philippines, very different to like Singapore. So there's like so many different like countries here. So I think that's the first thing, like what is the which kind of like a market are you mostly interested in? Because you also need to understand that not every market is the same. And then for me also, I think it's overall, I mean, like Asia, what I mentioned before, like people are very friendly and everything. But I think when you come to Asia, you also need to, adapt your style of working, right? Just like people are less direct. A lot of the things, a lot of the communication is very like in between the sentences, as we like to say. You have to pay a lot of attention. Yes is not necessarily a yes, and usually there is not a no. So those are all like things that you have to just like keep in mind when you do business here. But over time you will learn. And I think people are just in general very, very helpful. And the overall like a community is very helpful. So no matter if you are like a foreigner who wants to come to Taiwan, or maybe you want to go to Thailand, usually there is like a lot of communities and people help each other. So you will learn very fast. But it's just overall like the communication style is just very, very different. It's just important to adapt also to the way of life here.
And for Taiwanese company that would like to enter European markets, do you see there's any common traits?
So in general, I have to say that a lot of the companies, basically also similar to what I mentioned before, like the marketing strategy is not really like planned properly. So very, very often companies, they just think, oh, like I do the same thing I do in Taiwan, but then I target like European audience. If I see, basically just the strategy that the things that they did, it doesn't really make too much sense for me. Like I'm looking at the European market, and this is something that that definitely can be solved, or that we can help with, right? But this is something that is underestimated by a lot of the companies. And also like one of the things we see is that companies nowadays think that they can just do like a lot of things with AI. So they basically like translate the website, for example, through AI, but then the outcome very often is not really ideal because it's very obvious that it's not not native. And also a lot of the companies, they don't really put enough effort on branding as well. So if you see like a lot of the Taiwanese brands, when you look at their websites, it's very messy, right? There's like this color here and this font here, and just like very, very messy. But then in Europe, I think a lot of like kind of brands, they care a lot about their branding, because it's also communicating trust, communicating credibility. And this is what I see that a lot of brands here in Taiwan don't really pay enough attention to.
But in terms of the cons, do you see any, let's say, common features they are sharing? For example, like they are, what kind of size they are looking for something in Europe, or they are just randomly picking a market that think it can be profitable. Is there any ideas they are sharing in between for those companies they want to go to Europe?
I mean, honestly, it depends a lot on a company size. Because a lot of the companies we work with are rather small companies. So meaning that, maybe they are, they start out in like, maybe like a lot of brands actually go to France, for example. So usually what they do is they also go to the markets in Europe where they think they can get the most sales out of. So this is why like a lot of them would go to like Germany or France. But those companies are usually smaller businesses. So meaning that we help them to just like set up everything from scratch, set up the website from scratch, or set up their email marketing from scratch, basically.
Why do they think they can be profitable? Or what is the motivation for them to think if they go to Europe, they can earn a lot?
I mean, honestly, if you look at Europe, the like people still have like the economy is still very good, right? So if you look at Europe, the economy is still very strong. Looking at like Germany is one of the highest like buying power. So this is also how they make the decision. And also, of course, like the market here in Asia, like a lot of them also, of course, like market to Asian countries. But yeah, going to Europe, definitely they can see that people still like spend a lot of money on like on e-commerce as well. So it should be like rather easy. And another thing is that if you go to Europe, if you enter one market, it's very easy to sell to all different markets because of the EU.
But do they have unique selling points versus the local brands?
I mean, again, it depends a lot on the company. So, for example, if you look at the tech companies, a lot of them come from like Taiwan or Asia. So definitely, yeah, they have unique selling points. And then a lot of the brands we work with, they are very, very different to things that you would find in Europe. So we work, for example, with like camera brands. We work with SD cards, so also very techy. We work with like one brand which is like a very special pen. That you cannot find in this like in this sense in Europe. So all of them are very special, I would say, and definitely have a chance in Europe as well. But for example, we don't really work with like a fashion because I know for them it's very, very difficult. Like if you're like a fashion brand and you want to enter like from Asia to Europe, very, very challenging. I know makeup is getting more common because people really like K-beauty or like Asian beauty. But then, yeah, the brands we work with is mostly in the like tech field.
Okay. In terms of the German markets, did you see any common thing that shares with those Taiwanese company can be success there? Like, why can they be success? Is there any specific features? 这一次的访谈很丰富，所以我把它拆成了上下2集。你在听完了这一集之后，记得接着去听下集哦。连结我就放在资讯栏。如果你想走向世界，你一定不会想要错过这个重要的资讯。我目前在法国已经建立了一个国际型的创业家社群，里面有超过30位来自各国的创业家，也包含了法国跟美国的投资人。这个社群会持续的扩大，也会更完整。如果你想走向世界，跟国际级的创业家交流，请你一定要加入我的 Telegram 社群，才不会错过重要的通知跟活动的资讯。节目流量越高，追踪人数越多，我就能邀请到越多厉害的人来分享他们的产业知识跟见解。如果你觉得有帮助，请你帮我留下好评，也把这一集分享给身边需要的人。OK， 那就这样，拜拜。